Good evening and welcome to the Township Committee meeting of February 14th, 2023. Ms. Borg, please call the roll.
Committeeman Ciccarelli.
Here.
Committeeman Rowe.
Here.
Committeeman Thompson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Brenning. Mayor Lapani.
Here.
Administrator Ferreira.
Here.
Attorney Willard.
Here. Please join me in salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be advised that in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex and notifying the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex at 7:30 p.m. on February 14th, 2023. We have no minutes to approve at this time, so we'll move right on to reports from committee liaisons, and we will start first with Committeeman Ciccarelli.
Good evening. Happy Valentine's Day. From the building department, they want to emphasize that residents review their permit documents, make sure to read all the documents that are given to you when the permit is issued. There's often additional notes and an inspection checklist that lists out all required inspections. So just make sure to review that so all your paperwork is filled out. The engineering department would like to inform the public that Hillsborough has received an NJDOT local aid grant in the amount of $368,400 for repaving the final phase of Amsterdam Drive. The final phase will complete the full repaving of Amsterdam Drive. The township received grants for all three phases, so the full repaving will be at a minimal cost to the township. Phase 1 was completed in this year, or 2022, I should say. We anticipate Phase 2 will start this coming spring. And as with all the work funded by the DOT grants, the final phase, Phase 3, still needs to be designed and the plans approved by the DOT, procured and bid, and that work is planned to occur in 2024. So that's for Amsterdam Drive. The Public Works Department also would like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day and remind residents that it's time to start thinking of the Clean Communities program. This would support the Public Works' ongoing efforts to keep the town clean and beautiful. There are numerous ways for everyone to participate, and with the mild winter that we have had, we can make some headway in eliminating litter, thanks to all the volunteers for the Public Works Department. You get your spring calendar, get your spring calendar dates in order and plan to pick up some free tree seedlings at Ann Van Middlesworth Park on Saturday, April 22nd. This will help our forests rejuvenate by planting new trees where severe storms and invasive insects have diminished the trees in the township. This program requires you to sign up via Community Pass, and please visit the Hillsborough Township website to register and for more information about the available Public Works program, but the tree seedlings is another important one that residents can help with. From planning and zoning, we're excited to make the township data and maps easily available to the public. This is our mapping hub, or a zoning map. This interactive tool is a mapping application that provides zoning information on properties within Hillsborough. Users can view a variety of visual layers such as parcels, the zone descriptions, and overlays for their properties. For more information, visit the Planning and Zoning Department page on our website and click on the Mapping Hub to explore this tool. Stay tuned for future map updates. From the tax assessor, everybody's favorite topic. The tax assessor's 2023 tax list will be finalized tomorrow, February 15th, 2023. The 2023 preliminary tax list was posted for viewing on the assessor's webpage on February 10th. The final list will be uploaded to the assessor webpage in the near future, and we will advise when it's done. The annual assessment postcards will be mailed out between the end of February and March, so look for those in the mail. From the Finance Department reports that if you need information on the property taxes that you paid in 2022, you can find that also on the Township website at hillsborough-newjersey.org or nj.org. Select the online payments and then tax information lookup. And that after putting in your block and lot numbers, you should be able to select your property and see how much you paid in 2022 in taxes. The Economic and Business Development Committee would like to introduce the Experience Hillsborough magazine. We'd like to announce the launch of this official e-magazine. The Experience Hillsborough magazine is a virtual display of the best of Hillsborough. This quarterly digital showcase gives readers a glimpse into just some of what makes Hillsborough Township an amazing place to live, work, and visit. This has features, photos, and other highlights. You'll be able to see a variety of events and the locations and activities that Hillsborough has to offer year-round. So to read the inaugural issue, please visit the hillsboroughbusiness.org website. And lastly, from the EBDC, the Economic and Business Development Group, the Hillsborough Business Association will be hosting a job internship fair here at the Municipal Building in the Seniors Activity Room on February 28th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There'll be many Hillsborough businesses from a variety of fields exhibiting and looking to fill vacant positions here in town. While employer participation is limited to Hillsborough businesses, job seekers are welcome from all over. Participation is free for both attendees and employers. So all interested businesses can fill out the form online and at the Hillsborough Business Association Facebook page. So if anybody's interested or looking for employment, please come to that the job fair. And that is all of my committee reports.
Thank you. Commitment Room.
Thank you, Mayor. I recently attended the orientation for newly elected officials sponsored by the New Jersey League of Municipalities. This was an overview of issues facing municipalities, and I was able to supply a lot of important resource information that they shared throughout the event. The Health Department would like to remind all businesses in town that your 2022 recycling tonnage reports must be submitted to them by March 1st, 2023. Please contact the Health Department if you have any questions. From Social Services, with the rising cost of groceries, the Hillsborough Community Assistance Network, the CAN, housed in the Social Service Department here in the Peter J. Biondi Municipal Building, helps residents in needs. Thanks to generous donations from individuals and groups such as the St. Joseph CCD 7th grade class, the CAN is able to provide groceries and necessities for over 70 families on a regular basis. If you need assistance with food insecurity, please do not hesitate to fill out an application found on the Social Services webpage. If you'd like to donate, the CAN accepts monetary donations as well as non-perishable items. There is a current need for paper towels, laundry detergent, dish detergent, conditioner, canned beans, soup, and feminine hygiene products. From the Recreation Department, if you want your child to be one step ahead of the competition this fall, we'll sign them up for one of our summer sports clinics to improve their skills and help them stand out amongst their peers. Hillsborough Parks and Recreation is proud to be offering amazing clinics such as basketball, tennis, soccer, softball, and a summer music academy. Registration is now open. This is only the beginning of the summer programming here in Hillsborough. Check out the Recreation website for more information. Additionally, Hillsborough Recreation is pleased to tell you about a super chill over 40 women's kickball league. Join as a team or as an individual player and have a ton of fun while meeting new friends and reconnecting with old ones. To sign up, contact Nicole Ritigliano, the commish, at NITF Kickball, so NIFTKICKBALL @gmail.com or 848-702-4260. That's 848-702-4260. And from the Sustainable Division, the Hillsborough Sustainability Office would like to remind the public of the price points for the electric vehicle charger located at the municipal building. The pricing is $1.50 per hour with no fee for parking. After 3 hours, the driver is charged $5 per hour for parking. This is to discourage drivers from parking in the EV charger spots for extended periods of time, making the charger unavailable to use for other EV drivers to utilize. These fees are discounted comparably to the other chargers in surrounding area in an effort to make EV charging accessible for all in a public location. For more information, please visit sustainablehillsborough.org or call 908-369-3533. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Committeeman Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things this evening. First, from the police department, they'd like to again to remind all Hillsborough residents to lock their cars while not in use. Make sure you remove all valuables from your vehicles when exiting and don't leave anything of value in view if it must stay in your car at all. Most importantly of all, do not leave key fobs in your car after you exit. Also from our police department, the Hillsborough Top Cops for 2023. Each year, the Hillsborough Police Department selects 2 top cops from each patrol squad to be recognized for their exceptional performance for the previous year. The award recipients are determined based on a score devised from the annual job performance evaluations, along with the ranking achieved from their prospective supervisors and peers. Officer Dylan Kelly and Officer Rich Tishner are recognized for their highest ranking on each of the 2 patrol squads. Top cops are formally recognized by the department, the mayor, and the Township Committee, and receive an acknowledgement in their personnel file. In addition, Officers Kelly and Tishner will have their names engraved on a plaque displayed in the lobby of the police headquarters, honoring each year's recipients since the program's inception in 1996. In addition, they will be awarded a merit bar that is worn on their uniform badge. Congratulations to these 2 veteran officers on their exemplary service to the township, earning them the distinct honor. From our Bureau of Fire Safety, 3 new career firefighters are sworn in by the Board of Fire Commissioners on February 7, 2023. The new firefighters are Kevin Danbury, Adam Capwell, and AJ Herring. We want to thank them for their upcoming service to the township. And last, from the Veterans Commission, Delta Dental reaffirmed its dedication to expanding oral health care access to our nation's veterans through their partnership with the Dental Lifeline Network. Since the program began in 2020, the Delta Dental companies across the company have partnered with the DLNL's Lifeline Heroes. Challenged to improve comprehensive dental care for veterans in need. For many veterans, dental care is not covered by the Department of Veterans Affairs Benefits. To address this issue, Delta Dental and DLN partners have bolstered recruitment efforts for volunteer dentists and hygienists, expanding access to oral health care for veterans. For more information, see the Lifetime Heroes Challenge website at dentallifeline.org. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Thompson. I just want to echo Committeeman Thompson's report there from the police to just please lock your cars and don't leave valuables or things that appear to be valuable in plain sight, because that's really all they're looking for in these instances. They're not looking they're looking for the easy score. Purses, rolls, even just change in your cup holder. That's all they're looking for. So just be vigilant of keeping the car clean and locked, and a lot of those problems will go away. So first off, we talked about calendar photos. We showed our calendar winners last meeting and some of the beautiful photographs. So Obviously, the first calendar is out, so we got to start the new one. So we are beginning to work on the 2024 color printed calendar and are pleased to once again partner with Town Planner to produce it. Individuals interested in submitting photographs for consideration for the 2024 calendar can email their high-resolution image along with the photo release form to Deborah Ng at Deborah, or DEBNG, at Hillsborough-NJ.org. That's DEBNG at Hillsborough-NJ.org. Each photo should be saved with the picture's location and the photographer's first and last name. The photo release form can be found on the Township website at Hillsborough-NJ.org. The calendar has limited spaces, obviously, it's only 12 months, for photographs, so there is no guarantee that every picture will be used. Past calendars have included pictures of Hillsborough's stunning scenery, including farms, mountain views, parks, rivers, creeks, and wildlife. Residents are not asked to submit pictures of people and pets, and to be mindful of objects that can block scenery, such as roofs, decks, car windows, and fences. As always, the printing of the calendar comes at no cost to Hillsborough taxpayers. It's funded through the advertisements contained within the calendar. So look forward to some new beautiful photographs of this great town. Accessibility features, and this is new to me. I did not know this, but I'm not the most tech person in the world, and I explained that to some people in the audience today. Gmail users, did you know that you can translate the e-news into another language? It's easy. After you open the e-news, click on the three dots at the top right of your email page and select Translate. From there, you can select a language of your choice. The Hillsborough Township website also boasts a variety of accessibility features. Click on the person at the bottom of the right screen for a menu, including the ability to make the font bigger, use dyslexic-friendly text, highlight links, and more. So, pretty cool. This coming Friday, on Friday, February 3rd, just past Friday, employees from Hillsborough Township and the Board of Education wore red in observance of National Wear Red for Women's Day. The Go Red for Women initiative raises awareness for women's heart health. Nice photo. Hillsborough Township Mayor's Wellness partners with Robert Wood Johnson for a host on a nutrition workshop. So this past week, Hillsborough Township Wellness invited Tia L. Higgins, a registered dietitian and community nutritionist from Robert Wood Johnson, Somerset, to present an informative workshop, Getting the Skinny on Weight Management. The Mayor's Wellness Campaign is a statewide community health initiative that supports mayors and community leaders' efforts to encourage healthy lifestyles and to improve overall health and wellness in their communities. After the lecture, Ms. Higgins answered questions while participants got to construct and enjoy a healthy snack. Keep an eye out for more announcements of the next Mayor's Wellness event. Save the date, the Green Living and Wellness Fair is returning to the municipal complex, taking place directly at the after the Hillsborough Hop on June 3rd. The Green Living and Wellness Fair is an interactive event that brings together the Hillsborough community and highlights those businesses and organizations that promote health, wellness, and sustainability programs. And if you didn't know it, the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, in partnership with Somerset County Film Commission, announced that Franklin, Hillsborough, South Boundbrook, and Watchung have completed the multi-step training and certification process and have been designated a film-ready community. Ready and prepared to cooperate with movie television producers. Launched as a pilot in Somerset County in September of 2022, the Film Ready New Jersey program is set to extend statewide this spring. There will be a link to the press release tomorrow in the e-news, so watch out for it. So I know that there's been some filming in this town already because of Tom Bellinger, who we recognized here, and he plans to do more. So stay tuned and maybe be like Hollywood, walk around, you see sets out and look to get in there as an extra. Last month, we kicked off the Interfaith Community Network. We are looking to align our faith-based network with our township resources and each other. Stay tuned for more information and updates from this group. I got one little additional caveat. This past Sunday, myself and Committee and Ruth stopped by the Hillsborough Diamond Club pancake breakfast here that was across the way to lend our support and throw a little money on some raffle tickets, and probably didn't win anything, but we all supported. But I just want to thank the community for coming out. It was a great event. There was a lot of support, and all the baskets that were presented and by local businesses was a great thing to see. So stay tuned for that again next year. But as always, you can stay connected with all events and more via the Wednesday e-newsletter. Be sure to like and follow the official Hillsborough Township Facebook page and Twitter, TV29, and the Hillsborough YouTube channel, and Hillsborough alerts and traffic emergency notifications. We have a few proclamations to do this evening, so I will move down to do those two. Anybody here for Black History Month? I'll put the proclamation here. I'll do like this. During Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and vast community contributions of African Americans to our economic and spiritual, political, and cultural development of both our nation and our community. The 2023 theme is Black Renaissance and explores how African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms. Hillsborough Township continues to work toward becoming a more inclusive community wherein all people are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, state, county, and world. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the mayor and Hillsborough Township community, do hereby recognize February as Black History Month. Be it further proclaimed that we, the mayor and Hillsborough Township community, urge all residents to recognize the contributions made by members of the African American community and to actively promote the principles of equity and liberty. Young ladies. National Teen Dating Violence Awareness. A couple on this side, bounce it out. Oh, you guys will move. National Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month highlights the needs to end dating violence and foster safe, healthy environments for teens and young adults. Dating violence may include physical force such as hitting or shoving, emotional abuse, and such as constant monitoring or sexual assault. Teens are easily influenced by their early relationships, and the example set by those relationships can have a lasting impact on their lives. Violent dating relationships can lead to depression, anxiety, drug and alcohol abuse, and thoughts of suicide. Approximately 1 in 10 teenagers report being physically or sexually victimized by a dating partner, while many other victims do not report it at all. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the mayor and Hillsborough Township community, do hereby declare February as National Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Well, thank you for having us here today and creating a conversation about this important issue. Our clubs represented by us today are Days for Girls, Push Rebel, and Grow Up at Hillsborough High School. And our goal, especially during this month of February, is to, again, start a conversation about this issue, as 1 in 3 high school students report being victim to sexual, physical, verbal, emotional, or other forms of dating violence. So if you or anyone you know is currently struggling with this issue, I'd urge you to call the Safe and Sound hotline at 866-685-1122 for their free and confidential services. Again, that's 866-685-1122. Again, thank you very much.
I'm going to have the ladies say their names.
Donna Griggs, advisor to Girl Up and Days for Girls.
Dia Nathan, president of the Days for Girls Club.
Melissa American, president of the Girl Up Club, and on the executive board of Push Rebel.
I'm Jenna Hamid, co-president of Push Rebel.
I'm Prisha Desai, executive board member of Push Rebel. I'm Eliza, I'm in Push Rebel.
I'm Rebecca Balaguer. I'm a student assistance counselor at the high school and the advisor for the Push Rebel Club.
I'm Joelle Piercy, Director of Outreach and Prevention at Safe and Sound Somerset.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for coming up and moving a very important cause. We will take a brief 5-minute break for those who wish to leave, can at this point, and then we can start with the rest of the agenda. Take a quick break. about 4 after. Now that our clock is working. We're going to move on to consent agenda. Do we have any people wishing to take any consent agendas first or out of order? Oh, I'm going to make a move to move 12 and 13 out of order and do them first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve resolutions 12 and 13. Any, we need to make we don't have to do a roll call, do we?
You're
Gonna open it up to the floor, open it up.
Well, okay, first to the dais, any communication?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. On Resolution 12, the hiring of Alex Middleton to fill the tax assessor, he's out of the country. He wanted to be here, but it's going to be a great addition to the team, so we're very happy for that. We do have Nick in the audience, so thank you, Nick. He's going to be joining our building department team as our plumbing inspector, so we're thrilled to have him here with his experience, especially business as well that he's had in the past, which is always a plus for us running your own business and then coming on the other side of the house to be understanding. So I want to welcome Nick and also thank Frank Lucas as well for being here as a supervisor tonight. And we're looking forward to seeing great things from Nick going forward. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments from dais? Any comments from the floor on consent agenda 12 and 13 only? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Chigarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Moreau?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor LaPlante?
Yes. Congratulations. You'll be very popular in town, I promise.
Welcome.
Welcome. And feel free to go. Yeah. You have an early morning tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick. All right, we'll then move to regular consent agenda items 1 through 11 and 14 through 21. Any comments from the dais on 1 through 11 and 14 to 21?
Yeah, if Anthony could maybe speak to number 11, the topographical mapping. I think it's an important issue to the planning board, and I just want you to speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Commitment. So we did have a meeting with engineering, DPW, and Pannoni as well. This is an important project, as Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Committeeman Thompson has mentioned many times up here, as unfunded mandates, and this is yet another one that the township has to handle with our outfalls and scouring. And the township is in need of this type of mapping for stormwater, especially with the damage to Ida. So this is about a 5-year plan that we have that we're going to be putting in place. But this is a key, and that the committee has awarded a GIS position a year ago, which has been critical to the township as we go through many projects. So we'll be working with Pannoni to put it on our GIS. So as we go there and look at all the outfalls, so we know how to fix them, we can put them on our GIS, and going forward, we'll know what needs to be fixed. So this is the first step in the process of this mapping, which we don't currently have today, which is needed. And then we'll be looking at the outfalls, then the scouring, then the fixing of potential issues for the township. So the meeting was held. It's been sent to the engineering liaisons as well as the mayor. They understand the intense project that the town has to complete this in 5 years or less. And again, this is the first step of the process.
Thanks.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, this is just the first bit of these mandates that we have to do as far as from a planning and engineering standpoint. First thing we do is we had to go out and find them all. We did last year. Now we have to map them, and then we have to do the repairs, plus a bunch of other stuff that needs to be done based on what's being mandated from Trenton, with no grant money to speak of so far, so it's all going to be on the burden of the taxpayer. Any other comments on any of the resolutions from the dais? Seeing none, any comments from the floor on 1 through 11 and 13 through 21? 14 through 21, sorry. Please state your name and address for the record as usual. Thank you.
Maria Januszek, 720 East Frick Avenue, Manville, New Jersey. also a Hillsborough Township property owner, Block 86, Lot 3, 2155 Camp Plain Road. Good evening, happy Valentine's Day.
Good evening.
Resolution, consent number 1. Is this a new position being created with this titled engineering director?
No, I can handle that. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to make sure you hear me. So Mr. Bellinger was the assistant engineer. He's come out of the union. So he's moved up to the director title because in being in the union, you can't have that title. So we had to do a title change to make Tom the director as a department head, which we've always treated. But Tom has been in the union and he's decided to come out. So there's no paid change in title. But because he's being removed from the union and the union contract has that title as assistant director, we're just moving him to director. As all my department heads here in the township have a director title. So Tom has been treated as a director anyway. It's just we have to just a title change because of the union. And that's already been approved by the union as well and recommended and suggested. So we've met with the union and with Tom and both parties agreed that just a title change and it's kind of simple as that.
So title change, but previously there was no engineering director. This is a whole new title given.
Right, because we use Panoni as our engineer. Tom had the assistant engineer just because that was the title in the union way before all of us up here. That was the title back in the beginning of time. So Tom was the assistant engineer. Because all of my department heads who run a department, as Tom does, they have the director title. Tom has now had that director title. I just couldn't go forward and keep him with that title because it's a union title. So it was not allowed by the union.
Okay, but now this, because he's not a union member, creates a different, as far as benefits or anything, there are.
Nothing will change other than Tom will not be paying union dues at this point. That's the only change.
He won't be paying union dues, but he'll still get all the benefits that the union people get? I don't understand how.
Well,
this-
the only benefit will be if you want to say they have union support, if you will. But other than that, other than Tom paying union dues, there's not really much has changed, other than he's either in the union or he's not in the union.
As far as any salary increases in the future, how is that going to be handled?
He will no longer be eligible for any merit increases. So if anything, that's probably a negative for Tom. So he won't be allowed to have any of those merit increases. And typically, the management team versus union team, it's about 0.25%. So he won't be eligible for any of those extra awards or anything, incentives of that coming out of the union.
Okay, except the union personnel have in a contract when they get their increases. So now for Tom, when do management people get increases?
Same time as the union people, but you're correct. Tom now works at the will of the folks up here, so he can be let go at any time. So that's a difference. So.
Okay.
But I think Tom feels pretty comfortable in the job he does here, and we feel pretty comfortable in Tom. So I think that was a decision that he made for his own personal reasons.
Okay. All right. Consent number 5, resolution amending municipal court appointments for 2023. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alternate municipal prosecutors. Why so many alternate municipal prosecutors?
That's a good question too. So most times 3 of those won't be utilized. The only time those other folks will be utilized if there's a conflict. So if the DeFrancesco firm is somehow conflicted out, or if the 3 of the alternate prosecutors are unable, then we'd use those prosecutors. But that's typically only in the case, as we did last year, when there is a conflict. So we always need to make sure we have a municipal prosecutor. Mm-hmm. So if there's a conflict, then we'd be using the other folks on that list.
Just that I don't think you've ever had this many alternates. So it's kind of strange.
I think we did have almost that many as of last year as well. And it hasn't changed since the reorg in January either. It's
And-
consistent with January.
And they're not paid unless they actually work, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So
not paid unless
they're not paid, they're just in the wings, ready to come up if they need to.
But they're hired, or they've given this alternate position, they had to have applied through that bidding process that you
No.
have, that qualified?
No, they would have to be, they'd be paid what is the prosecutor, whatever that prosecutor would have gotten paid for that court session, they would be paid.
But how did you get these names? How did these people become alternates?
Mayor,
What
if
was
I
the process?
could, first of all, Kip Bateman's the named prosecutor for the municipality. There are individuals on there, Kevin Hewitt, Brian Davis, and Renee Campbell. They all work for our office. In the event Kip is unable to cover a session, one of those individuals will appear on his behalf, and that's why they're named as alternate prosecutors. As far as compensation, they don't get any compensation. They're employees of the firm. Kip gets the salary for being the prosecutor, and if they have to cover, they have to cover. It's just part of their jobs at the firm.
So how many of these people are from the firm?
I believe on that list is Kevin Hewitt, Brian Davis, and Renee.
I don't see Renee.
Rachel, I'm sorry, Rachel. And then the other three, I think, are with Mr. Bernstein's office in case there's a conflict.
Two are with the Bernstein firm, and one is independent.
3 with Bernstein and what?
John
3 with-
Donadio is independent.
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. And I see that for the DUI prosecutor, you have 3 municipalities that are covered by John Bruder, and then you have Branchburg only by Kip Bateman, or the alternates. How was that decided? I thought that all of the municipalities that are sharing a municipal court had all the same personnel.
Yeah, so where it made sense, where we kept the same prosecutor when we just took on Branchburg, so it made sense to keep certain prosecutors on there for just a transition, and were paid the same amount of money. So in that circumstance, it made sense to keep the same prosecutors on, whether they're special prosecutors, DUI. It made sense to do that.
I'm not understanding it.
So with the merge of the courts, it was easier with
Merged,
Branchburg, shared move-in, it was easy to just keep the Mr. Bateman as their prosecutor for continuity's stake for at least this year, and then we can reevaluate it next year, essentially what it is.
Okay, except that Branchburg became a part of the shared court last year, so this is a whole new thing.
So just for now, he had a contract with them, so when we merge, we just keeping it through that and then reevaluate next year.
Okay, so the contract he had with Branchburg, what is it, like mid-year to mid-year?
So the judge's contract is still running through this year.
Not the judge, I'm talking about.
So, right, so the prosecutor does not. So we decided through the court and the mayor and the liaisons here that for continuity, as the mayor mentioned, makes the best sense. So as you know, because we've mentioned it many times, in the vicinage, the Hillsborough, Manville, and Montgomery courts are the top of the vicinage. So I think we make some pretty good decisions here on, this will probably now be the top 4th court in the vicinage. So for continuity, and it's a really good team, this is what we decided moving forward. We had a lot of success at the end of last year. We felt bringing back the same team that works and understands the Branchburg court and the way it works and the way they work together made a lot of sense. To split the team up didn't make any sense. So that was a management decision.
Okay. All right, and then consent number 8. Consent number 8. The resolution authorizing stipend payments to Scott Williamson, Ed Alat, and Chris Huddy in accordance with the 2023 salary ordinance. So what is the purpose of a stipend versus getting paid, like if you're doing overtime work or whatever? What is that?
So I just feel like it's
all about Anthony today.
My night. Maria and I are just gonna have it. You guys can leave. So it's super important too so I'd rather pay a stipend to an employee versus salary. Why? Because his salary is there and his salary goes on forever. So a stipend, they have to meet a certain criteria in order to get that money. So when John Fiedler's not here, we need to have three subcode officials, and they have to have the specific license and certification. So when John Fiedler, my construction official, isn't here, and someone needs something signed, so we don't delay their projects, whether he's out for a day or a week or a month, these three subcode officials can step in and make sure that the shop continues to be open and the projects move forward. So part of their stipend is they have to cover for John Fiedler a certain amount of times. If they do, then they get the money and they get their stipend. It's a one-time pay that they get for providing that extra service, just like we do stipends for people in the building department that have extra licenses. So if you're a plumber and you have electrical license or you have fire or any other license and you use them for a certain amount of time, then you'll get paid for using those licenses. It's a benefit to the town. It's a benefit for the residents, the businesses. So this is simply mentioning those people that can get stipends for using outside of their license. So you see Ed Allett and Chris Huddy. Again, those folks are for subcode officials, and the Scott Williamson is also for using additional licenses. They all have to meet criteria and make sure that they're utilizing their license or covering for John Fiedler a certain amount of time in order to get that payment. So that's the difference between a base salary, because if I paid them a base salary and they did nothing all year, there's nothing I can do. And then that salary is increased every year by the percentage of the raise. So this holds them accountable to making sure that they fulfill the requirements of that stipend.
Number 11, we discussed it a little bit, the resolution authorizing Pannoni Associates to provide aerial topographic mapping. So this $159,930 is in addition to the whatever contract they already have.
Correct.
So, wow.
This is special, it's a special project that we have to do.
That's so. I don't have a, no copy or whatever. What's involved in this aerial topography? What are they doing that,
LiDAR mapping.
warrants this? Huh?
LiDAR mapping.
What is it, LiDAR?
Light detection and ranging. Essentially, you get the most accurate data points of topography. They use it on they use it all along the shoreline. That's how they determine flood zones and things like that. It's very critical, especially nowadays, and DEP requires it.
Okay. And this was the only firm that submitted a proposal for this?
Well, I don't know if,
No, they're already
our engineer.
Yeah, they're already our engineer. That was awarded in January.
So because they were already the engineer, they were given this additional, the contract for this additional, or that's part of the original contract?
When they're awarded the contract, they become the engineer based upon their hourly rates. And then during the year, when you have specific projects like this, we get proposals from them to do the project.
So their original contract is hourly, and this is not hourly?
This is bulk. This is for the whole project. Phase 1.
So this aerial topography mapping that's the price for that project, not hourly, just price. Okay. Consent number 12, resolution authorizing the hiring.
We did this already.
Oh, we did that. Oh, that's the one.
12 and 13 are done.
They're area left.
12 and.
And 12, 13, and 14 are
12
done.
and 13 were done.
And 14.
And what?
And
No,
14.
and
No, 13
12 and
was done.
13 were done.
14 wasn't done yet.
14 was not, correct.
All right. Okay, resolution number 16, resolution, oh, I don't think that was the one I was interested in either. Oh, the captain, yeah, actually, a resolution authorizing the promotion of Lieutenant Sean Carolyn to captain and Sergeant Thomas McLean to Lieutenant and Corporal Hank Olson. 2026 to sergeant effective February 15, 2023. So there's a position of captain and there's a position of chief. I know that in Manville, they had that for the longest time and then they eliminated the position of captain. What are the tasks, or what does the chief do? What does the captain do that you have? Because these are two because the captain is a very, very high paying position.
Well, first off, comparing Manville to Hillsborough is like comparing apples to oranges. And if I remember, their police department's been through a lot of things in Manville,
I understand.
and not great things. But in Hillsborough, we have, we're at 61 officers appointed now. We're 63 right now, yeah. Much larger department, so when the chief is away, the captain acts as in the chief's stead. He's also in charge of a lot of the administrative duties. As you know now, there's so many requirements that come down from the Attorney General's office. Just body cameras alone, the amount of time that footage that has to be going through. The captain is extremely busy, really taking care of the administrative side of the department.
Captain's doing.
The chief is in charge, obviously, but there is a lot of duties responsible when you have a 63-member department. There's more than enough work, and I'm sure there could be a situation one day where we get to 2 captains, to be honest with you. Like, that's the amount of work that goes into having that level. Probably a new lieutenant first, but.
So this is backfilling a retirement, so.
Captain Fisher retired.
I'm sorry, what?
Captain Fisher retired, so this is a backfill of, so the Lieutenant Carlin moved up to captain, so then you had to backfill a lieutenant position. So then that is the position of Lieutenant Sergeant McLean will move up to lieutenant, and then Corporal Hank Olsick will move up to the sergeant position. So everybody got to move up one spot.
Okay.
There's no new position being created.
Okay. And I think just the one more, Resolution 21. Resolution authorizing the transfer of David Coyce from the position of interim planning and zoning director in the planning and zoning office to director of planning and zoning effective January 31, 2023. So effective January 31, 2023, David Maskey, was that the last day for David Maskey that now David Coyce is taking over?
Yes, and I think we explained to that you once prior and also at the planning board. But yes, David Maskey retired. His last official day was the 31st, so then David Coyce would be now the head of the department.
Okay, and now I know David.
He was interim before, as you remember.
When David got the position of interim planning and zoning director, he got an increase in pay. Now that he's going to be the director, is he getting another increase?
No,
It's going to be the same as it was when he was appointed interim.
correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Come on up. There can't be many left. She went through most of them. Or you just want to talk to Anthony?
No. She already did. I already got.
You gave him a heads up? All right.
Okay. Susan Guilford, Club Road. At the Township Committee meeting of January 24th.
We're talking about the
We're still on the
consent
consent agenda.
agenda. We're not on for public meetings.
You're on consent.
We're on consent
Okay,
agenda.
I'll wait for public
Stand right
comment.
there.
All right.
Stand here.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion? Was that any other comments from the floor on the consent agenda? No. Roll call, please.
Where was the second? I'm sorry.
You got a motion? We have a second? Second.
Okay, so I have Thompson, Chicarelli.
Yep.
So roll call, Committeeman Chicarelli,
Yes.
Committeeman Rowe,
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor LaPlante.
Yes. All right. Public hearing 2023-01 ordinance to amend entitled salary range ordinance, setting forth salary ranges for clarification set forth in said ordinance. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-01?
So moved. Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Any comments from the dais on 2023-01? Seeing none. Any comments from the floor on 2023-01? Oh, you have to give it to Mike. Sorry.
That was short.
Okay, is this ordinance?
Marie Janusek.
Maria Janicek. Is the salary range ordinance amended every year?
I think generally speaking,
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
So each year, the minimum and maximum changes?
No. Not necessarily everything, but it can, yes. It could be the minimum or the maximum based on the cost of living, requirements for this department, et cetera.
Okay, so that's nice that every year, and what is is there a percent change, or how is the minimum and maximum determined?
Well, I think I just said that, but Anthony can answer that
Yeah,
question.
so the way it goes up, as far as the percentage of the union contracts versus the management contracts, it just depends. So if you're at one salary and that new increase for that year exceeds that salary, which a lot of times it does, because that minimum and maximum, a lot of times the maximum is that current salary of that employee for that year. So unless you're a part-time employee or a floater or like a court position, it may not go up. But for the majority, and might be better to ask the CFO, but for the majority, as the salary increase for that year goes up, the maximum range goes up as well.
So, like last year, you had a minimum and maximum. Was anyone's salary increased beyond the maximum, or?
if we did, we'd have to do an ordinance to change it.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's like 200 employees, so I don't know which.
Nobody was above what the minimum maximums of last year because they would have to be within that range.
Yeah, if it happened, it was a mistake.
Okay, so that was my other question. So you have to stay within that salary range. You cannot go above the maximum unless this is amended.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public on 2023-01? Seeing none, we have a motion to.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Aaron Chigarelli?
Yes.
Ray Moreau?
Yes.
Chris Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor LaPlante?
Yes.
No introductions at this time. Claims list 2023-02. May I have a motion to approve? I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Committee Thompson. Second?
Second.
Okay, comments from Dais? None? Comments from the floor on the claims list 2023-02? Should just stay there.
Honestly.
Maria
Yes, Maria.
Janusik. So on the supplemental page, and I know you always tell me that it's Nancy Costa,
Okay,
but there's a huge amount here for the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund, first installment for 2023 of $389,652.93. I'm still not understanding how, like, certain things that have to be paid and have a timeframe, how do they wind up on the supplemental list instead of being
so
paid the way they
that's the
should?
first payment for our auto workers' comp liability and comprehensive, et cetera, insurance premium. The total premium of the year is $799,136.93. And we have to pay that at certain periods. So that is why we had to make that payment that you spoke of as a payment towards that premium.
And I understand that, but there's a time when it's got to be paid.
It was a 5 Tuesday month, the month of January, so we had an extra week in between, so that impacts that. That's why it had to be on the supplemental agenda.
Because there's an extra,
Because there was 5 Tuesdays in the month of January, so we had an extra Tuesday between, normally we're here every other Tuesday, but there was a extra Tuesday in between. So there was no meeting for her to have it on a regular claims list, so she had to do a supplemental.
and there's the last item on the supplemental is Harris Casino Hotel, appropriation from the recreation account for $970. It's
That's
some kind of
for a
conference?
conference that our rec department attends, includes seminars on safety, et cetera, as well as our vendors. So that is to pay for the hotel room, basically, and the classes.
How many people attend this,
I don't know that number. $970 couldn't be a lot for the cost of what that would be. I would imagine, or
Yeah, it may have been three
Three
people.
PM, or-
They need their continuing education credits as well. So they need their continuing education credits, so they can get a lot of credits to maintain their certifications in one place. So it's actually a savings to have them do that at that conference, because they get almost all their credits at that conference.
Okay. Also, I don't have the specific page, but I see that sometimes township employees are reimbursed. They have a cafeteria reimbursement. Employees are reimbursed for their meals, lunch,
No, it's
dinner,
not.
whatever.
It's misleading. It's actually, Anthony, you can explain it better, but it's a reimbursement for eyeglasses or any other kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's part of the union contract as well. I just want to make sure, are you speaking to a
Is it
reimbursement on food, or are you talking about a cafeteria plan for insurance? Because two separate things.
It says cafeteria. plan.
Cafeteria
I don't know what
Right,
it is.
so that is including in healthcare, so part of the contract negotiations through the union, that employee can use either one lump sum to offset some of the insurance costs, or as the mayor just mentioned, they still get that lump sum of money, which isn't a lot, by the way, and they can use it for eyeglasses, they can use it for prescriptions, it's up to them. So either they can go to the finance department and say, here's X amount of money, I'd like to just offset that in all the payments in their check to reduce their insurance cost, or they can decide to use it for eyeglasses or prescriptions or anything else they want to do. It's up to the employee.
And that's called cafeteria?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
There's no free lunches.
Unless you're buying.
Unless you're buying.
Oh, okay. Well, at the planning board meeting, I had asked a question in regard to payments to the planning board attorney, Eric Bernstein. And he said that he is paid.
Is this on the one, the consent agenda? Because that's
Because there are.
on the claims
there
list.
are, Okay, there are payments to Mr. Bernstein, to Attorney Bernstein on page 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the bottom page, what it says, 54 or whatever. But there's
Okay.
a payment here for 1170 Millstone Redcom, and there's 303 Amwell.
And what's the question?
What's the question?
So the question is, payments are made, what was stated by Attorney Bernstein, that the applicant puts money into an escrow account, and then he is paid by the applicant through the escrow account. Is that the payments that are on here, is that reflected what's in the escrow account or what's paid by the township?
If you look at, there's two different listings there, and you have some that I believe are under projects, which are usually, I would imagine, what's being paid out of the escrow account, which is mentioning a specific project that he is working on. And then there's a second where he would be doing work directly for us, which we pay out of, but we still have to write the check to him. It's just dispersed out of different line items and different departments.
So, Mayor, you're correct. If Mr. Bernstein's doing something on a specific application, he's going to bill that applicant's escrow account. Money's going to come from that applicant's escrow account. If he's doing stuff in general for the planning board, then the township would end up paying that.
So like what's showing here, 303 Amwell LLC. So where would it show that he's getting paid through the escrow account?
Do you see
That
the one?
mentions the application, that's probably
Right,
through
it's
the escrow
already-
account.
You have the one list, what they call bill list by project ID, which is a list of 5 pages. Those are specifically billed to the projects, which I would believe.
It even has the planning board
It
application
has a
number on it.
planning board application. Those are the stuff that's being paid via the escrow account. And then the separate, larger 34-page flood claims list would be where all of the municipality bills are. Those would be the outside those project bills that we pay. For example, Mr. Willard and other professionals for work being done.
Okay, but where is the number of the escrow account? How do I find?
It says right on the application, as the mayor just pointed out, that it says bill list by project ID. And if you go underneath there, it'll say, you could pick one, Homestead /Redcom 22-PP-05.
Yeah, they're not going to reference particularly how much money is in the escrow account. They're just what they're billing towards what project.
So all they're mentioning is the file number of the account of the
The application.
but nothing as to the number of the account.
The total amount left in the account? No, you'd have to
No,
Oprah
not
that.
the total amount, just which account.
Yes, again, it says Homestead/Redcom 22-PB-05.
Right. Okay, that's the file number, but then you have an escrow.
That's the account.
That's the account.
That is.
So in other words, right, if you look at an easy example, if you go to the very last page, 89 and 90, the very last entry, Weston Road LLC, 22 PB 03 MSPV. That's an application that Weston Road filed, and Mr. Bernstein billed $608 pertaining to his work on that application.
And there's an invoice number.
So the amounts that are shown on the side, that's coming from the escrow account.
That's going to come from the escrow account.
Again, yes.
That is coming from the escrow account.
Again, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on claim list? I'll give you the nod when it's your turn. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, we have a vote, please.
Committeeman Chickavalli?
Yes.
Committeeman Rowe?
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor LaPlante?
Yes. All right, so we've done claims list. Now we get to new business, not on the agenda today. Ms. Borg, please read the statement regarding public comment.
The Township Committee welcomes input from the public. Please state your name and address, and please spell your name for the record. You will be given 1 3-minute allotment for your comments. Please understand that this public forum is not structured as a question and answer session. Comments are addressed to the mayor. Again, please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
You're up. You got 3 minutes. Well, whoever's up first. Ms. Bork, she's got the little clock there on the screen there, so you can have an idea where.
It takes me a while to spell it. Okay, Susan Galliford, Hunt Club Road, GULLIFORD.
Save the seconds.
At the Township Committee meeting of January 24th, Redcom Representative Greg Reddington addressed the committee members in a blatant and lengthy attempt to sway the planning board vote on Redcom's currently active multiple warehouse applications. Endeavoring to make an end run around the planning board and the process, he made a speech during the public comment section of the agenda, promoting his proposed projects and verbally proposing changes to almost all his applications. With 2 members of the Township Committee also on the planning board and planning board members appointed by the Township Committee, this is not a good look. These are already contentious applications, and they've gotten the attention of many members of the public who are not familiar with the process and aren't sure exactly what's going on when they see something like that happen. And while his inappropriate presentation received a cool reception, it may have tainted the public perception of the upcoming votes on Redcom's applications. If an application passes, the public perception may be he influenced the vote. If it fails, did he aggravate the board members? Either way, it's a stain on the process, and it could open Hillsborough Township to yet more lawsuits, no matter which way a decision goes. Sure, I have a couple questions on that. Can the applicant or all applicants be advised to not comment about their applications outside of sworn testimony during hearings? And will Redcom be completely revising all their applications as a result of his comments, even though they were not made as testimony?
Mayor? Yeah.
Oh, well,
No, I just wanted to say, did you enjoy your free speech? Because unfortunately, in this situation, so does he. And we can agree on many things, but any individual is allowed to come and take their 3 minutes and speak before the Township Committee. I mean, that's a reality of an Open Public Meetings Act. It's pretty clear. I don't think we can put many restrictions on the abilities for open public meeting. I mean, it could be to his detriment or to be his benefit, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
However, I don't know any part of the law that allows us to say, you can't speak Bill, am I missing, Mark?
No, the Open Public Meeting Act expressly provides that the municipality, every governing body must set aside a public comment period where anybody can come and address the public body on any matters that they deem of significance. And by the way, this happens pretty regularly. Most of the time, it's residents complaining about an application that they don't want the planning board to pass. But the public body, of course, has to listen to that. I understand your position on that, but the bottom line is this governing body has no choice. We can't control speech. You came up here today, we couldn't say, Ms. Alford, thanks, but we don't want to hear from you on that issue. You're talking about something between the planning board, we're not going to hear from you. We can't do that.
Does that apply to all the boards and commissions?
No, only the governing body. The statute applies to the governing body as far as the Open Public Meetings Act, that portion that talks about public comment. The governing bodies have to set aside a period for public comment, and the Board of Ed has to set aside a period of comment for comment on anything, but the planning board doesn't.
Okay, because when the planning board has comments for items not on the agenda, the other night, there were no RedCom applications, but the public was not allowed to comment on any of the warehouse applications.
And just so you know that, yeah, the Open Public Meetings Act specifically says that the municipal governing body does and boards of education. They must set aside a public comment period where anybody can address them on any issue they deem of importance. It does not apply to, hopefully the Open Public Meetings Act applies to the planning board. That requirement is not for the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
Same thing, Historic Commission, it doesn't apply.
Okay, now the question about him completely revising his applications would be one that would have to be asked at the planning board, which is hearing his applications.
It would be up to the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But I heard that, and if you can get the message out that the governing body had no choice there. You can't say, we don't want to hear from you.
So yeah, just to be fair, I mean, obviously, we've had public comment on applications in the past from the public, pro and con, so it's the same for everybody. But we did not make comment, as you know, to his comments. Hello, Maria.
Hi, I'm back. Maria Janisic. Regarding the shared municipal court, Hillsborough handles the financial records of each municipality, Montgomery, Manville, and now Branchburg. Where are those records? Because Manville is not getting any kind of reports. When I asked for a report from the court, the only thing that was given was that there was a check for this amount, and then it's showing where that money was apportioned, but doesn't show anything about what went on in the court. So where are those records, and where are the financial records as to fines and, what money is coming in?
And Pam.
Like the old days.
Yeah.
So Nancy Costa provides financial records back to the administrator, GP. So GP should have those, or can request any documents that he wants anytime if you're talking about Manville. But we make sure that Manville has those records, because Manville, even though we charge Manville for doing that court, they receive all the revenue from the tickets. The township does not. So we charge Manville one price, they get all the revenue for all their tickets. So Manville should have all that information if you're looking for tickets and all that. But I am sure that we can probably get that information from our court as well. But if you're looking for revenue numbers, that would be on the Manville side, because those revenue numbers get shared with our CFO to their CFO as well.
To the CFO or to the administrator, because you mentioned GP.
Well, GP might have that, but I'm not sure, because a lot of times they have part-time positions over there. So I would check with GP on that to see if he has that. But if not, we give them those records all the time, because they get the financial benefit from us running their court so efficiently.
Okay, because I've requested that a few times. I got a response from Susan Keith that they're not going to be looking up records and whatever, and if I want something, I should a whole different area to somewhere to contact for that information, and Manville wasn't giving anything, so I wanted to know who is it that handles that.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at a specific case. I don't know what the courts can release. Susan Keith is the right person to ask for specific. But if you're just looking for revenue numbers or dollar numbers, you're better to speak with the CFO, Nancy Costa, from here, as you know, or in Manville.
Okay. And one more question regarding the civic clerk website. It's been changed and it's more difficult to get information on that website than it was before. I had wanted to get some information from the planning, regarding planning board minutes. So I stopped at the office and planning department and spoke with Deborah Paget, and she said that it's been upgraded and there's a filter on it. And now it's, before you could find, the dates and get the agenda and the minutes, and now it's a whole different look, whole different process.
I'm going to pass that to my colleague Pam Borak, who handles civic clerk. Pam?
So sometimes, from time to time, software will go through upgrades. If you want to stop in to our office and spend a few minutes, if you want to come make an appointment, that would probably be best. So either Sarah or myself or somebody in the office in admin can help you navigate the new system and just show you quickly how to use the filters. That would be really beneficial probably for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One person sitting in the back so quietly. Good evening.
Good evening. Anna Mailer, 11 Hunt Club Road. I've spoken here before. I'm a 30-year resident and a 25-year school employee. I was recently reappointed to serve again on the Hillsborough Millstone Municipal Alliance, along with 22 other people. For those who are not familiar, municipal alliances are established to engage residents, local government, law enforcement, schools, nonprofit organizations, the faith community, parents, youth, and other allies in efforts to prevent alcoholism and drug abuse in communities throughout New Jersey. Members are volunteers who are appointed each January, and I've been appointed every year for close to 3 decades. As a member of the community and of the Alliance, I have a question about the process of appointments. Of the 23 people who were appointed, 2 longstanding and hardworking community members of the Alliance, Jane Statz and Jean Trujillo, who wanted to be reappointed, were not. And I want to understand why. Jane and Jean were literally the backbone of the Alliance, tirelessly working to promote the organization's mission of substance abuse prevention. Jean served as a secretary for the committee, took detailed notes, curated and shared resources with the community, helped promote local and county-sponsored events to further the well-being of our residents. Jane helped to spearhead a young adult support subcommittee and within the Alliance to try to find ways to support young residents in the years after high school, especially those vulnerable to dangers of substance abuse and abuse. Jane and Jean's involvement in the Alliance went far beyond being present at monthly meetings. Whenever someone was needed to be at an event, they were among the first to volunteer to set up the table, give out pamphlets, engage residents in conversation about the mission of the group. Whether it was a school function, a community event, wellness fair, a parade, townwide celebration, Jane and Jean were there. They were with me in the blazing sun last July, Jean carrying all the supplies and setting up a tent in the field at Auden Road before the annual fireworks celebration. Like I said, they were the backbone of the committee, true warriors in this battle against substance abuse. It was a shock to me, and from what I understand, to them as well, to not be reappointed to a committee where they have actively volunteered for their time for years. That's also a disservice to the community for the Alliance to lose such active members. It sends a message to those who serve as volunteers that they are not respected, recognized, or appreciated for their contributions. As a member of the Alliance and the Hillsborough community, I just want to understand how this decision was made.
Go ahead.
Mayor, I just wanted to mention too that I have been on the Alliance as well, and I was not reappointed. And just this year, I helped the Alliance last year obtain $18,000 a year for the next 20 years. So I was a member, maybe not done substantial, but I know new people have to get on as well. And step aside, but brought in $18,000 for the next 20 years, a lot of money. But I just want to let you know that I was not reappointed.
So we'll give you some extra minutes. Longevity does not guarantee a spot. So they were informed that because both were, Jane Stott was just elected to the Board of Ed, as well as Ms. Triolo, that I asked for the Board of Ed to supply with me the liaisons from the Board of Ed to be on there, as to not duplicate it. Before that even happened, they said they did not want to be reappointed immediately after that. And I respected their wishes, but that's what happened. Now, they were informed, they were told the reasons why, whether they chose to accept it or not. That's their prerogative. And I've yet to get an appointment from the Board of Ed as to liaisons to be on that board, which doesn't preclude them from coming if they should be appointed by the Board of Ed. But I left that as a respect to the Board of Ed to have their people on that they thought that should be there.
My understanding, in reading the bylaws is that, you can be appointed just as a concerned citizen, whether or not you're a member of the Board of Ed, or the school
And
district.
we appointed some new people to try and get some new blood and new thoughts in there. 30 years or 20 years is great, but it doesn't necessarily preclude you from being on every year. We actually had a few people that were on boards that had been on for a long time in the rec commission and in other places that were not reappointed, and we put new people on to get new people and to get new thoughts.
And people attend that meeting frequently that aren't appointed and contribute as well, members of the public. Having a title or an appointment doesn't mean you can't volunteer in this
Of
great
course.
community.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's and again, to the mayor's point, the names could have been furnished and they still did not want to be appointed from what I understand, so.
Right.
But I would love to see them, if they care that deeply about it, they can still attend every single meeting, and that there's individuals that do.
But there's,
And we still haven't got
being a
the,
member, you can vote on different topics, just being a resident, a concerned citizen. My understanding was, like everyone else, we filled out a form in December asking if we wanted to be reappointed or not. And we all filled it out, and it just rolled over from year to year. My understanding is that, they were not told. It was when they were at the meeting, the reorg meeting, where they saw the list of people, that's how they were found out whether they were appointed or not. I was not told whether I was appointed or not. I got no notification. So whatever the process is, it's certainly, I understand longevity has nothing to do with it. To me, it's more about the hardworking dedication to the mission of this group. That, you cripple an agency because anyone can come to a meeting once a month and sit there, and many people just sit there. I've been there for 30 years. But the people who do the work, who say, when you need someone to be at a table, at an event, in the hot sun, standing there dealing with, those are the people that you want. And so, in the interest of getting real worker bees out there on these committees, it just seemed like a slap in the face.
But wouldn't you agree if they're that level of a worker bee and they care that deeply that they could ask the chair or the president of the Board of Ed to submit their name back to our mayor for appointment? If they care that deeply? I mean, you're the one who said they care that deeply, so if they do.
I believe they care that deeply.
Then I think they have a recourse if they want to.
But why did they need a recourse? Why were they not automatically appointed
the mayor
just like
explained
I
that.
was? They attended more meetings than I did. They worked harder than I
But
did.
you didn't get elected to the school board this year. You weren't elected to the school board this year, were you?
No,
But
but.
so I mean, that's his ruling.
It just, and even if you're not going to reappoint someone, it just seems just disrespectful to not even acknowledge their service and to thank them and say, but we've decided to go with other people. So there was this kind of, just
But again, there's a
lack of
recourse.
communication. And, we've talked about transparency, and we've talked about being more inclusive and trying to open up things. But what message does it send for people who give of their time and then,
well, we were more inclusive. We put new people on.
and that's wonderful, and there's no cap. So we could have 25, not just 23,
And again, they can both talk to
But
the
they
president
can't
of the
vote
school
on
board.
things, and that's,
No,
I
they could
think,
talk to
where-
the president of the school board. The mayor has asked them for a name, and they chose not to.
Yeah, and again.
Correct? I mean, that's,
My understanding is, that being that they had to go through that route, it was sort of like, we know when we're not wanted, because why were they not just automatically reappointed?
and again, the mayor explained that, so
Right, but
that's
I don't
an
really-
opinion. I mean, we're asking the school board to provide a name, and it has not
But
been
as ordinary
provided.
citizens, they could just be reappointed, just as ordinary citizens. That's what I'm saying.
But they're no longer ordinary citizens once you raise your hand and you say, I'm taking an oath of office to serve on a board. And that's a reality
But there
too.
were other years where they were both on the board, members of the Board of Ed and members of the Lions, many years.
And they were one of them was the liaison during that time, and then one was unelected or chose not to run again. I mean, these are not arguable facts. These are things that happened.
Yeah, I think it's a disservice to not appreciate people's commitment and sends a message that, rather than being inclusive, you're deliberately being exclusive.
Well, I
And
disagree,
that's-
I disagree,
that's
but
unfair.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other comments that we've already, okay,
So at this point, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
I like that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Second.
Second, and roll call, please.
Chairman Chicarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Burrow?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor LaPlante?
Yes. Thank you all. Have a nice evening. Happy Valentine's Day to those who all be with their significant others, family, friends. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel in the back. Have a good night. 8:50.